All right, we are live here, and it is the Quantum Money Activation Show. We are busting through your money blocks and manifesting more abundance. That is what we're talking about every day, Monday through Friday. And why do we do that? Why do we have this conversation? Well, it's an important conversation because money is mission critical for most of us on this planet to some degree or another. Money empowers us to do a lot of different things. And the secondary, well, actually, that's more the secondary reason. The primary reason we're talking about it is the trigger point that money brings up for people. There's a lot of emotional potency in it. And so we want to give people the opportunity to release that and to really unblock anything they might have going on in that arena. So, topic of today is desire and having a definite purpose. So we're going to relate this to the idea of money, and we're going to explore different topics here. We're going to touch on Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, other topics as well. There's a large variety of different topics out there that relate directly to money. In fact, money could probably be related to pretty well anything we experience here on this planet, or most things anyway. So we'll be tuning into this specific topic. And we already got a comment in here. Okay, we got Chris in the house. So thanks, Chris, for the welcome. And we're going to roll it out here. So let's start with a definition of desire, a definition of purpose. And even the word definite's right in there. So having a definition of purpose, you could also say it that way. So desire can mean different things. And when you think about desire, it's like, where is it relevant for you in your life right now? Because there's different levels of consciousness. So desire at one level of consciousness might mean something completely different at another desire. But the point here is really when you know what you're doing and you have clarity and you have direction, then you can actually execute. Then you can actually take action. So if you know that in your heart you're meant to fulfill a particular mission, like the mission that I promote often is about bringing clean water, food, and shelter, basic income, and education to every human being on the planet, so that they can fully self-express and have passion in everything that they do and live by their enthusiasm. And we can fully be here to support one another in that endeavor. When every human being has that, then we can live that way. That's heaven on earth. So what does that mean? It means I'm motivated every day to move that forward. And of course, I have my own personal processes around what that means to me and how I leverage it. But basically, that's how I know I'm going in that direction. If you think of life as a game and there's, goal posts and your, goal is to, put the ball or the puck or the football or whatever it is, between the posts, then, you have a direction. And that can show up in different ways for different people. But that's essentially what it's all about. So, Mal, based on your success, I mean, you've been doing this for a while. You've had a lot of success online. So how important is it to have that burning desire and that definite purpose?
I mean, it's mission critical. I mean, you definitely want to have a burning desire. And if you don't have a burning desire, then you don't really have enough passion to really carry you through. And then you'll get burned out. And it's just like, one of those candles. Once it gets burned out, you can't relight that wick. It's gone, right? And that's what happens to a lot of people just going through life, is that they end up getting rid of their desires. They end up getting caught in a daily routine. It's very habitual. And most of the time they give up on their dreams and goals. So having a desire and having a definite passion will definitely increase your ability to get things accomplished. And I think that having a desire is the first step. And then once you have a desire, then it will lead to having a definite purpose. And most of the time, people don't even realize that they're living a life that's unfulfilled because they don't even know what their purpose on this earth is, right? And until you figure out what your purpose is, then you can't really fulfill your mission. And you're just kind of like, willy-nilly, just going along with life, waking up every day, following this routine, but you don't even have any type of purpose. And, kind of like what Matthew touched on, his mission is to, bring clean food and water to humanity, right? This is something that is very purposeful and it's something that's very desire driven, right? And, I have a lot of different things that I'm looking to accomplish, but my most The biggest thing that actually pulled me into the network marketing space or affiliate marketing, whatever, was just to get my daughter through college, right? That was my desire at the time, and it led to me having a definite purpose to fulfill that mission. And now my daughter's, inside of a university. She's going to college. I bought her a brand new car off the lot. It's all paid off. She doesn't have any debts or anything like that. And that was my main purpose, when I first got started in this industry.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, and I mean, the bigger the why, as it's said, or the more emotion in your purpose, the more energy that's there. And when you can effectively harness that energy, that's when that becomes the driving engine for you to move it forward. And everyone's at a different level of experience. So some people's driving engine may be completely different than having, something so straightforward, perhaps. But nonetheless, that is what allows your behavior to manifest in the way needed in order to create the reality that you prefer. So it really is about taking that action step. And we got some great comments coming in here. We got Chris sharing his desire to do what he loves, be abundant in it, literally raise the vibration, be a part of the transformation to 5D universe for the planet and all humanity. Well, that's great, Chris. Definitely on the right vibe with us, or the same vibe. And in a sense, it is the right vibe. And what do I mean by that? It's, if you think about the idea of, being in your right mind, right? When you hear the expression, someone's out of their mind. Well, what does that mean? Well, that could be someone with a small mind thinking, that an idea is too big. But sometimes it's the idea of like, what is insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. I mean, you could call that wrong-mindedness, in the sense like you're not in your right mind, right? You're not seeing with clarity. And so, the right path, really what it means, it's the right path for you, but it's also to consider like, hey, is there a path of wholeness? Is there a path where there's truly light before me and I can easily take those steps with clarity and purpose and direction, knowing that I am doing the right thing? That would be the right path. And it's not meaning you're doing something specific. It means that you're perceiving reality from a holistic perspective. And that's the biggest challenge for people. So that's why, desire, like someone could be like, well, I want a Lamborghini. And some people get that, right? They really want the car, but that's, not necessarily the highest level of consciousness. That's just where the person's at, and that's what they need to experience. But the more you ascend into higher levels of awareness, you recognize, like material things are just vehicles that drive me to get to where I need to go for my purpose in this life. So it's not about the material possession in terms of having it. Oh, I achieved this. It's about utilizing it to move your mission forward, so to speak. And why would you even want to do that? Is, well, it's for the spiritual growth. It's for the evolution that you experience. So it becomes much more experiential than material as you progress, as many of you watching absolutely know that. But what's the next level for you? That's one thing to consider. And the other thing to consider is, are you still hanging on to those material ideas to some degree, even if it's just about money itself? Because ultimately, you want to release it all. You want to let it go. That doesn't mean you lose it. That doesn't mean you don't have it. It means you're not attached to it. It means you're freely opening your vessel to receive what it needs to move forward.
Yeah, when it comes to desire, there's a lot of layers to desires and things like that. And, sometimes it starts off with, I just want to be able to make some supplemental income, or I just want to be able to, escape from my job and things like that. Or sometimes it could be like the example that you gave where it's like, I want to have a Lamborghini, right? So in my opinion, those are good desires that may lead to something that's even more purposeful. But the purpose that you should have should always be something that's greater than yourself, right? Because the I is only going to take you so far. And usually when you're focused on the I, you're just really looking to stroke your own ego, right? And, when you have a mission that's bigger than yourself, that's actually going to really propel you to do some great things. And it's also going to push you because you're not just relying on yourself. It's one thing to be self-motivated, but it's one thing to have another thing to have a motivator that's totally outside of yourself, that really pushes you to keep on going every single day and to actually fulfill whatever your purpose is, right? So that's a surface level type of purpose when it's all about yourself, right? And if it's all about just making money, you have to go go a little bit deeper and figure out like, what is the money really for? Like, what are you looking to make money for? Like, you can't just say like, oh, I want to make $50,000 a month. Well, that's great, but if you were making $50,000 per month right now, like what would you do with that $50,000, right? So you have to go a little bit deeper and you have to figure out like what is the root or what is the end goal that you're really looking to achieve. And once you figure out what the end goal is, that's what really becomes your desire, right? So you have to like start with one layer and then you have to dig deeper until you can actually get to your ultimate purpose. And then once you figure out what your purpose is, then every single day when you wake up, you know exactly what you need to accomplish, and then you can take steps to get there every single day. You can set some goals that may be smaller that actually lead to you get into that bigger purpose and things like that. So that's what I learned from my mentors, and it's really helped me along the way over the years.
Amen. Absolutely. Yeah, that's fantastic. And we've got some more great comments coming in here. Thanks, Callie, for sharing your desire, helping people find their internal joy. And your purpose is equality and peace for all of humanity and the earth. That's really incredible. And the desire, it has to be backed by the mission, right? What are the action steps you're taking, right? So with our partner here, Noble Goldman, that's what we're doing, right? We've combined forces with Noble Goldman because why? Is because it has the platform, it has the community, it has the capability to drive this thing forward. It has the ability for us to create our own economy. And it's, money's a part of the journey, right? Part of the fuel source. So when you're financially independent, when you're creating your own economy, when you don't have to leverage debt or banks, or you're not at the mercy of, corporations or other people or anything like that, and you're totally self-sustaining, that's really, a great sense of freedom. It's not to say you're not free in those other ways, because freedom's a state of mind, not a state of physicalness. But nonetheless, as you free your mind, you find the ways to free yourself in all ways, including the physical realm. And so that's really the mission here, is empowering people with, rather than giving them fish, teaching them how to fish, giving them fishing rods. And that's the momentum here. That's the movement. So that's what we're up to in our collaboration here. And, before we jump into some other comments there, let's just take a minute here. If this stuff is resonating with you guys and you're not yet a part of our amazing community, make sure you just drop this hashtag free resources in the chat, and Malik or myself will reach out to you and give you some great goal setting tools on how you can get clear on your vision, clear on your purpose, clear on what your desires are. And, if those desires are having negative affiliations or attachments and you feel like you need it or you feel incomplete without it, these tools we're going to give you are going to help you get clarity around that stuff so you can start moving in the right direction and have execution and action on what you need in your life right now. And you'll gain clarity around that, so you don't have to be attached to outcomes, but you can definitely be moving forward with positive momentum.
Absolutely. Yeah, so definitely hashtag free resources so you guys can get some clarity. And, clarity is something that everyone needs, right? Because if you're not clear on what you're looking to accomplish, then you're never going to really get to your ultimate passion and figure out what that is, right? And everything starts with the desire, but the desire is just one layer of that. And to get to your absolute purpose and what that is, it takes a lot of thinking, and it takes a lot of hammering away at what you actually want to accomplish in your life and things like that. And being purposeful and being a person that's driven every single day, where you have something that's actually pulling you and you're not being pushed, that makes a huge difference, right? Because if you're pushing yourself to do something every day, then 9 times out of 10 you're not going to feel like doing it some days. And if you're not doing it on a regular basis and you're not going towards your passions, then those passions could die, right? So you definitely don't want to be in that situation, and it's better to be pulled than to be pushing, right? So that's one thing that you definitely want to keep in mind when you have a passion that pulls you towards your purpose every single day. then it becomes so easy for you to go towards your purpose because you're literally being pulled, you're being magnetized, and you're being driven towards your actual purpose. And that's the type of purpose that you actually want to have, right? So you definitely have to have clarity around that. And if you don't have clarity around it, this is where these tools and these resources really come in handy, because most people have not even thought about like what their purpose is, right? I mean, we do have a few people that put what their purpose is in the chat, and that's awesome, right? But I know that some of the viewers who may be watching this right now may not even have really thought deep enough to figure out like what is their purpose, right? And are you fulfilling your purpose right now on a day-to-day, right? Are you really moving towards your purpose, and are you being pulled towards it on a day-to-day basis, right? That's something that you should definitely ask yourself.
Amen to that. And so why don't we do a gamma breathing activation here and really just give people the opportunity to tune into that a little bit more. So as long as you're seated or laying down in a comfortable position, go ahead and close your eyes and just think about the idea of having clarity on your purpose, or the idea of having a burning desire. And I prefer definite purpose because it's a little lighter. Desire seems like there's a little bit of an attachment there, like I need this thing. Purpose is like, this is why I'm here. It's more of a matter of fact. So you decide which one resonates more with you in terms of the languaging, but tune into the energy of it. Tune into the energy of your purpose, of your soul's mission, of your heart. And just put out the intention here to get clarity on that. And if you already have total clarity, well, it's a refinement process. So just empower yourself to gain even more refinement around it so that you can continue to take action in a really deep and inspired way. And you want that action to be fueled naturally, not forced. You want life to be a natural process, right? Because you can create this illusion of forcing things to happen, making things to happen. So just let that go, release that. It's not necessary. And it's not sustainable, right? So number one, it's not even doing anything, right? It's a waste of time, quite literally, and it's draining and it's straining to your system. So you can just let that go and tune into just this natural flow here of having a purpose and knowing why you're waking up in the morning, why you're showing up in the world, and what you're doing to be of service to yourself and to others. And now breathe all the way in through your mouth, filling your lungs. And mouth out 3 seconds. And mouth in. And mouth out. Nose in. Nose out. Nose in. Nose out. Mouth in. Mouth out. Mouth in. Hold your breath. Hold it. And let it go. Breathing naturally. And just feel that source power, feel that clarity. Right? So your purpose and let's just use the word purpose. Your purpose doesn't come from you, right? It comes from source power. It comes from an inspired place. So sometimes you get an idea like, okay, I really want to do this. And then when you surrender it to your higher self, then you get even more clarity on what you actually need or what you actually need to be doing. So that's the idea, is no matter what it is that you quote unquote want or think you need, You actually surrender it to your higher power. And the gamma breathing pretty well activates that automatically, but when you have the clear intention as well that you're giving it over to God, you're giving it over to your higher self, you're giving it over to the Holy Spirit, that's part of the activation as well. And the breath really allows you to get out of your head and into your heart and into that gamma frequency so that you can start taking action and feel the natural inspiration that's flowing through you.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with that. And, this gamma breathing sequence, it definitely puts you in a state where you can kind of like visualize things, you can kind of internalize those things, and then you can kind of bring them out into reality and you can start to manifest. And, when it comes to having, these desires and these purposes and things like that, it's something that's definitely mission critical, like we said before. And it definitely starts from the source. Like you have these, ideas that actually manifest to, greater and greater things. And the more that you tap into that source power, the easier it is for you to start to figure out what your purpose is, for you to figure out what you need to be doing on a day to day. And then you can just take action on your goals and you can do it like, easily, right? You don't even have to worry about, what your next step is because you're always being guided, right? And you have that guiding light that's actually pulling you towards your goals and helping you to achieve those goals a lot faster and things like that, right? And this is something that I've experienced myself. And just like with the Quantum Elite community, right? This was just an idea, of how we can actually help people increase their vibrations because, after me being in this internet space for over 5 years, I realized that the missing component a lot of times is that people don't have the personal development, they don't have the spiritual growth, and they don't have the high vibrations that could actually help them to get to where they want to go, right? Because when you're an entrepreneur, like you are your business, especially if you're doing something online, right? And if your business is failing, that means you're failing your business, right? Because you're the one that's in charge, you're the one that's responsible. And we're emotional beings, like human beings, we're so emotional that we go through so many ups and downs and things like that, right? And you may have like a death in your family, you may have like, debts and things like that. You may have like bad news that you get delivered to you and things like that. And all of these different things, they kind of take you off track. And then you kind of like forget about your purpose. You forget about your desires, your goals. And then you kind of like fall off the radar, right? So this is the reason why it's so important for you to be focused on yourself and focused on your personal development on a day-to-day basis, because if you're not focused on your personal growth, then it's really easy for you to fall off the wagon wheel, and that's just not something that you want to do, right? And once you have an elevated state of consciousness, you're very conscious about your thoughts and what you think, right? And thoughts become things, right? So a lot of times people don't realize that they're harboring so many negative thoughts, negative emotions. They're passed down all of this generational baggage and things like that. So even if you write a desire down on paper or you have some purpose that's underlined, if you're not actually striving towards that goal, and if you're not actually working on yourself and like developing yourself on a spiritual level every single day, then it's really easy for you to kind of like give up on those goals, or they'll just be like underlying goals and, passions that never really get accomplished.
Amen. Yeah, and thanks for the love here, Chris and Mike. We got it rolling in abundance. And, that's just a great thing. This is what it's all about, inspiring people to become the greatest version of who they are, because that's really what this is all about. That's what these tools give you access to. That's what our free resources will allow you to gain clarity around. So just drop it in there, hashtag free resources if you're watching. And if you're not already a member, then we'll send you out some really incredible stuff to get signed up on with a Noble Goldman account, access to free resources. And that's the first step to becoming a Vault member. Now, Vault member, that's where you actually get access to our master classes and our masterminds. For example, I'll be hosting the Quantum Money Activation Masterclass in about 35 minutes this evening. So, that you got to be a paid member, and it's only $100 a month. It comes with a money back guarantee for the first month. So if you're not yet a member yet and you're watching this, you definitely want to check it out. But it starts with the hashtag free resources. We want to make sure you're getting actual value. Whatever the dollar amount is on those, let's say it's more than $1,000 worth of value that you're getting for free when you put in that hashtag free resources. Literally, it's probably more than that. Maybe it's $5,000, who knows? But it's a lot of value a lot of structure. There's some great training videos that are organized. Some are in-house, some are just organized from external sources, but they're still really excellent and helpful for you. So if you're looking for clarity, if you're looking for direction, if you're looking for the energy and power to execute on your dreams and goals, then just drop the free resources in there and we'll hook you up. And we are definitely talking about desire and having a definite purpose. And, this topic, so important, because if you don't know where you're going, you'll never get there, right? And like everything in life is about direction. The challenge, okay, this is good. I'm just kind of getting the download on this right now, Malik, or the clarity around it, is we're conditioned to the employee mindset. So from age 0, right, you are always looking to others for direction. So it's not that you don't need to have a goal or need to have direction in a sense, and there's different ways of looking at that, but we're conditioned to always be giving that power to someone else. Because look at the world around you, look at the authorities, look at the government or the banks or, the economic system as a whole or the corporations. They all have a direction. And if you don't have a direction, they're going to direct you because they're giving away your power now, or you're giving away your power to them, so to speak. Now, you can't actually do that, but you're creating the illusion or the experience that you're doing that. Now, your purpose can just be to be one with God. And then from that, you'll gain clarity on how to do that. But it has to also be practical, right? Like if you're like, okay, I want to be one with God, but then everything's annoying you or you're not finding success in the world, then you got to redefine what that even means, because there's a lot of spiritual people that are living like ostriches, right? Their heads in the sand about the reality things. And to love God is to love reality as it is, not to want it to be different than what it is. That's being egotistical. It doesn't matter if you masquerade with, religion or with spirituality around it. So these are really important things. But having that direction means you'll know what you're doing every day of your life. And until you're ready to take the reins, you'll never get out of that employee mindset. And Malik, maybe you could just touch on that. Like, to you, what's the difference between the employee mindset and the entrepreneurial mindset?
Yeah, there's a big difference between the two, and like you said, most of the time we're being told like what to do, right? From the time that we grow up, and people are always forcing us in one direction or the other. And that's why most people have the employee mindset, right? Because it's like, what do you want to be when you grow up, right? And they're giving you a couple options. They're basically force feeding your mind to kind of think about along the lines of what you actually want to be, right? The entrepreneurial mindset is more it's more vast, right? And it's not focused on just, thinking about a few things that you can actually be, but it's like it's more free where you can actually be anything that you really want to be, right? You just have to find a niche that you're truly passionate about, that, that you're pulled to, like I've mentioned before. And once you have that thing that really compels you, then it's really easy for you to have success in that avenue. And 80% of the people out there with the employee mindset, they're actually working jobs that they hate, right? No one ever says like, when I grow up, I want to work at Togo's and I want to change the world one sandwich at a time, right? No one says that when they grow up. But the reality is that this becomes people's reality, like they end up, working at Togo's or working somewhere in the middle of the mall selling, toys, or, having kids ride around on scooters, for entertainment or whatever it is, right? I seen that this weekend when I was there at the mall with my kids. And I was thinking like, I know this guy, when he was in school or when he was growing up, he didn't say like, this is my vision for myself. I see myself in the middle of the mall, giving kids these rides and things like that. But the entrepreneurial mindset is something that is very, very powerful, right? Because you're in control of your own destiny, and every single day you have to go out there and you have to create, and you're only relying on yourself, and it gives you a stronger connection with the source power because you have absolutely no one else to depend on, right? Like whatever money that you're making, it all comes to you because you have to create it, and you have to totally rely on a power that's beyond yourself in order for you to make things happen, because you don't really control, like if you have customers coming to your business, you don't really control, the people that are joining you or not joining you or anything like that, right? I mean, you definitely have to make the efforts, and you definitely have to, do your protocols and things like that. But ultimately, the source is definitely, in that that power state. And the more that you're connected with that, the more that you become empowered, the more that you create, and the more that you actually start to help more people and, take your own selfish desires out of it, the more success that you actually have in the entrepreneurial space.
Amen. Yeah, that's a great way to break it down. And neither Malcolm nor myself are saying there's anything wrong with those types of jobs, but the point is, and there's a time and place for it, right? When you're learning, right? But there's a time and place as well to get that definition of like why are you here? What are you doing? What's your actual passion in life? Following that passion, following that inner enthusiasm, and listening to that. So, you know, at first glance, you can see someone and judge them for what they're doing, and you're not necessarily accurate, right? Like if you can read energy and stuff like that, then you can get a better scope. But someone might be in bliss, with those rides, like with the kids and that. Chances are probably not their ideal thing, but someone might be enjoying it. So we can't judge them, but simultaneously, when you look at it and you're like, man, I would never want to do that. Okay, great. Well, just make sure that you're defined on what you're actually doing, so that you're not pulled in to doing things, because that happens a lot in like network marketing, right? Like people aren't defined on what they're actually doing, so they end up getting the shiny object syndrome. And that happens to entrepreneurs. That's happened to me a lot. Is like there's all these projects to work on. It's like, which one? And start to refine it down, and then you start to see how it all fits together. But the more clear you get on your purpose, the more you recognize where things fit and where things don't. And so then you can just move forward. Simultaneously, it's an art to always be receiving from source power, because there's a lot of people on social media right now that are just selling stuff, and it's not necessarily coming from an inspired place. It's coming from a real egotistical place, because they're not surrendering it to the Holy Spirit. They're not surrendering it to God. Simultaneously, can't judge them, because maybe that's exactly what they need to be doing. They need to be doing like just selling. They're not collaborating. They're not cooperating with others. It's just all about them and their process. And maybe for the lessons they need in their life right now, that's exactly what's relevant for them. So we can't judge anyone, and really having that compassion. And then when we have those people come into our lives, we're interacting with them more. We have to be like, okay, like, I could judge this person for acting a certain way, but is that really helpful, right? To have compassion for where they're at and what they're doing, then you kind of get an understanding of where they are, you don't need to understand everything, but enough to not, get annoyed by people or think that they should be different. That's really what the entrepreneurial journey is all about, because you're dealing with a large variety of people, and there's no room to hold on to grievances, right? If you want to move forward, you got to be forgiving, you got to let go. And that's really a great purpose too, is to have that, definition that I am going to, release, I'm going to forgive, I'm going to be compassionate. That alone will give you a scope into terms of what direction to move in. And
For sure.
here, let's just get some comments here before we wrap it up, Mal, because we got some great ones. Callie is, saying some great things, waiting for other people's permission. That's the employee mindset. That's a great definition right there. The employee mindset is waiting for other people's permission to do something. The entrepreneur's mindset is giving yourself permission. And are you going to maybe scrape yourself more once you start doing that initially? Maybe. Are you going to make some mistakes? In a sense, yeah. But a mistake's only a mistake if you don't learn from it, right? So, if you're okay with learning and growing, and yeah, you're going to have to let go of your self-image and self-identity and release that ego. But this is a great thing. I feel like we've got so much more to go here, Mal. Do you have anything to add, though? I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is that another big difference between like the employee mindset versus the entrepreneurial mindset is that the employee, they always have to be told what to do, like be here at this time, like these are your tasks that you need to do for the day and things like that, right? And they can't really get things done without being pushed in a direction and being told what to do like every second of the day, right? And once you get accustomed to that employee mindset, it's really hard to transition into being a business owner, because being a business owner means that you have to set your own schedule. You have to create your own tasks that you're doing every single day. You have to create money making activities, right? And a lot of us, who are online, not myself, but a lot of other people who may be just getting started may not even know what the money making activities are, right? So sometimes this can cause people to have like scoliosis where they're just all over the internet and things like that. But this is something that you definitely have to figure out. And that's why we have something which is called a DMO, a daily method of operations, right? And this is like your guideline to you being able to figure out what you need to do every single day as an entrepreneur. And you definitely have to stick with that, but you have to create it yourself. No one's going to hand it to you. There's no manual or anything. There's no instruction guide that just tells you like what to do as an entrepreneur. So these are some of the things that you definitely have to figure out. And there's some of the big differences between the employee mindset versus the entrepreneurial mindset, but it's so much rewarding when you have that entrepreneur spirit where you just take all of your own desires away and you just figure out like what is the best way that I can actually help people, right? What can I actually create that bridges the gap for someone from where they are right now to where they want to be, and how can I actually help these people solve the biggest problems, right? And the more problems that you solve in this industry, the more that you actually, help people, the more that you generate revenue and all of those kind of things. And it just works hand in hand. And then some of those people's problems can actually become your purpose. That's a beautiful thing about it, right? When you take people's problems, you make that your purpose to solve their problems. And then everyone's happy at the end of the day. And you're doing a huge service to humanity. You're actually helping the creation, and the creator is definitely happy with you. So it just goes, full circle, and it just really helps the world become a better place. And this is how we can create that heaven on earth that we're all looking for.
Amen. What a great conversation. I think we're going to have to continue it tomorrow with the employee versus entrepreneur mindset. But let's just have some final comments here as we wrap it up. We had Darla coming in here, and okay, great, Darla. I don't know if you're part of the community, but you said no. You're going to be signed up. Great. Yeah, we want you in the Quantum Elite. We embrace you, and you're. I think you're really going to love what we're doing. So you're ready. We're ready for you. When the teacher is ready, the student appears. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. So that's what it's all about. And oh, there's Chris. Thank you, Chris. And he's just throwing out the love. So thank you for that. And here we go as well. Callie, there you go. Some prompts from Alex. So remember, you guys, number one, we're in collaboration here with Noble Goldman. If it weren't for Noble Goldman, we wouldn't have this amazing platform. We wouldn't have been able to construct this community with such great preparation and all the resources that we have and the structure that we have. So, that's why we joined forces, right? There's no point in trying to do it on your own. Doesn't make sense. So, join us because we're collaborating as an overall community, over 5,000 members strong. And remember, if you're not a member yet, just drop in a hashtag free resources and we'll hook you up. And that way you can actually get started on your path with us. And, we definitely want to see you guys in the community. We want to see you guys succeed. And we just got some final notes here. Thank you, Darla. And thank you, Facebook user. I don't know who you are, but it sounds like that might be another gentleman named Chris based on the champions there. But we'll see. We'll find out. Anyway, love to you all, and we'll catch you. Well, we might see you in about 20 minutes. Otherwise, we're going to see you tomorrow. So have a great evening.
Peace and love. Bye for now.